You don't need a machine or any fancy equipment to roll pasta into fun and exciting shapes when you're working with the right dough. All you need are your hands, a little time, and a few key techniques. Shaping malarus, trophia, and orete is a great way to spend a rainy day, a lazy day, or really any day. By the way, this lesson is from our hand-rolled pasta class, out now on ATK Classes on the America's Test Kitchen app. In this class, I'll teach you how to make fresh rustic pasta doughs that you can roll out by hand without any special equipment. I'll also show you how to make a few simple sauces that pair perfectly with your pasta. Learn at your own pace and have fun while you do it. But first, when it comes to shaping pasta doughs by hand, you want to make sure that you're using a dough that's super dense and super chewy, which is why we're going to use both our semolina and our whole wheat pasta dough today. We're going to get into a few really fun shapes that you can do, again, without any special equipment. So we're going to start with our malarus. Now I'm going to use the semolina dough for this. This has been resting. Now the first thing we want to do is cut our dough into 8 equal pieces. So I'm going to use my bench scraper, and we'll first cut it in half, cut each half in half, and then cut those halves in half to get 8. So we're just going to work with one piece of dough at a time. So while I do that, I'm going to keep the rest of our dough covered in the plastic wrap so that the dough doesn't dry out. Now all 3 of the shapes that we're going to talk about today kind of follow the same method, starting with rolling our dough into a rope that's about 1/2 inch thick. So we're just going to rely on the friction of the table. We don't want to dust this with flour, and we're going to use our hands, and starting in the center, just pressing gently, rolling this out. Now again, this is where that resting of the dough is really going to come into play, because had we just jumped right into this, this rope would have snapped right back. But here you can see it's really working with us. We're looking for 1/2 inch thick. I have a ruler here just to check. That looks practically perfect. So we have our 1/2 inch thick rope. Now we're going to cut these into 1/2 inch thick nuggets. So I'm going to lay my ruler down to make sure these are all even. I'm going to use my bench scraper, just cutting these into 1/2 inch pieces. We're going to start with a shape called malarus. This shape is very similar to that of a gnocchi or a cavatelli that has a little ridges on the outside. Now if you have a gnocchi board or a cavatelli board like this, you can simply rely on the tines of this little wooden board to give you those ridges. So I'm placing the nugget cut side down against the board and using my thumb to roll until we get a really nice ridged edge. And those ridges are really great for soaking up whatever sauce it is that you decide to make. I'm not pressing so hard that I'm pressing the dough into the board, just enough to make a little indentation. And you'll see on the other side, you get a little bit of a cup there, which is also going to help collect all the delicious sauce that you're making. But like I said, we're not using any fancy equipment, so we can achieve the same shape using just a dinner fork. We'll rely on the tines of the fork to get the same exact shape. So first, we're going to press, again, cut side down. We're going to flatten it out so it's about 1/8 inch thick, kind of adheres to the back of the fork. And then use your thumb to give it a roll. And you'll see how forgiving this semolina dough is, just like that. Awesome. So now we're going to use these same little nuggets to make a more familiar shape, orete, which means little ears, because that's what they look like, and they're really adorable. So we're going to start with one of our 1/2 inch nuggets, and we're going to place it cut side down against our counter. Now I'm going to first press this into about 1/8 inch thick disc with my finger. And now rather than using a dinner fork, we're going to jump to a butter knife. But you want to make sure that you're using a butter knife that does have some jagged edge to it, because we're going to rely on that to get some texture in the orete. So I'm going to press with my finger the edge of the butter knife against the bottom and pull the disc towards me to make about a 1 inch long oval. And at this point, we will now flour the smooth side of our oval as well as our thumb, because we're going to roll the oval over our thumb to expose that jagged edge. So again, we'll just take the knife, scrape it across the bottom, let's turn it into a little oval, and then we'll dust the smooth side with flour as well as our thumb, and then you're just going to roll the oval over top to expose that wrinkly side. If you're just getting started with making shapes, you might notice that the nuggets that you've cut might start to dry out a little bit. So it's okay to just take out a few at a time, keep the others covered in the plastic while you're getting your feet wet in the shaping pasta world, or invite your friends over and have a pasta party. And by pasta party, I mean put your friends to work. Little ear. All right, so we learned how to make malarus and orete. So now I'm going to transfer our pasta right to a rimmed baking sheet that I have lined with parchment and just a little bit of flour. It's always nice to dust your sheet pan with a little bit of flour just to prevent the pasta from sticking to itself or to the sheet pan. But we have our whole wheat dough sitting out here, so we may as well make a shape with it. And in this case, we're gonna make trophia, which is something you might not have heard of before, but it looks like a little spiral corkscrew and it is super fun to make. We're gonna follow the same sort of idea as we did with the semolina, where we're gonna cut the dough into 8 pieces and roll them into ropes. So we'll cut the dough into 4s and then cut those 4s into 1/8. And like I did with the semolina, I'm gonna cover the rest of my pieces with the plastic wrap just to keep it from drying out. Now we're gonna again roll this into a 1/2-inch thick rope. All right, this looks great. I'll use my ruler just to make sure. 1/2-inch thick, perfect. So now we're gonna cut this rope into 1/2-inch thick nuggets. All right, now we're gonna take our nuggets, and the first thing we wanna do is roll these out into about a 1/4-inch thick rope that has tapered ends. We're looking for a nice skinny rope here. And you can just sort of pinch the edges to give that tapered look. Now in this case, if you're rolling this dough out and it's starting to slip and slide across your work surface, if you have a spray bottle of water nearby, you can just kind of gently spray the dough to add a little bit of friction to it. And you'll see we really need the friction of the counter, so you don't want to flour your counter when you're making these shapes. All right, so you have your little rope. You line the rope at a 45-degree angle to the edge of the counter. Then taking your bench scraper, you're gonna hold it at more of an acute angle towards you, almost flat with the surface of the counter itself. And just gently dig the edge into the top of the rope, and you pull in one swift motion. A corkscrew. Now you might see too that when you're rolling these, you might have some issues with the rope not really grabbing on to the bottom of your bench scraper. And if that's the case, again, you can just simply spray it with a little bit of water to build that friction back up. This is deeply satisfying. I could literally do this all day. And when you're pulling this dough towards you, you wanna do this in one swift motion. You don't wanna pull the bench scraper back, then stop, then pull. Just commit to the bit and you will be good to go. Here we go, trophia. All right, so we'll add our trophia to our array of shapes on my sheet pan. There's really no rules when it comes to which dough applies to which shape. The point is that you're having fun with it as you're getting to learn how to make shapes with your pasta. You could use whole wheat dough for orete, you could use semolina dough for the trophia. Whatever mood you're in, just go for it. But once you are finished rolling and shaping your pasta, you then want to know how to store it. So in this case, after you put all of your pasta on your sheet pan that you have dusted with flour, place that sheet pan right into the freezer until the pasta is firm. Once the pasta is firm, you can transfer your pasta to a zipper lock bag and freeze it for up to a month, meaning all you have to do is boil some water and enjoy your pasta. Pasta machine, schmasta machine. Using the proper dough, a few pieces of basic kitchen equipment, and a little practice, you can form and shape all kinds of pasta in no time. Now that you have shaping pasta under your belt, you're ready to take the next step. And with ATK Classes, you'll get access to a wide variety of lessons filled with masterful techniques, helpful videos, and step-by-step photos. From knife skills and making pizza, to baking and frosting incredible cakes, and so much more. Download the ATK app and start learning today.